Episode number 210.
Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because hashtag ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Esbrand. Hello. How are you? I am excited to be jumping on today for another career conversation where I'm going to be talking to you about why you are more equipped for leadership than you think. So if you are somebody who is preparing for leadership, who wants to be stepping up to the next level in your career, who has been contemplating either stepping up internally or looking for a move where you can move into a more senior role externally, I want to talk about this topic because it comes up a lot when I'm working with my clients around preparing for leadership. And many of them have been in their roles for a very long time, but don't quite feel like they are ready to take things to the next level. So I want to have a conversation about that today. Getting ready for leadership. So oftentimes what I see is people are in roles and they are doing well in the roles that they're in. They're executing on their tasks, on their projects, and they feel as though they need more time where they are before they're going to be ready for leadership. They need more time where they are, or they need to acquire more experience in order for them to step up. So perhaps they're in a position where they are looking to their leaders, their current leaders. They're looking at what they are doing. They're looking at how they're doing it. And they're saying, I'm falling short. I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite capable yet of being able to execute at that level. And so I'm going to keep working hard, have my head down, and then wait for me to be ready and for other people to notice that I'm ready so that I can go for that promotion, or I'm going to wait until I'm ready before I put myself out there for a more senior role. So that's what I see. So it's almost like looking externally to see what is required of you as a leader, and then waiting until you feel as though you're confident enough to go for it. So that is what I see. But here's the thing. Here's what I want you to really take away today and recognize that we are all leaders in some capacity. Every single one of us. We're all leaders in some capacity. At the very least, you are a leader of yourself. At the very least. Some of us don't lead ourselves effectively, but we are at the very least a leader of ourselves. You are a leader in your home. You are a leader of, you may already have some team members that you lead. You may be a parent, in which case you're a leader of little humans. Like, you are already leading in some way, shape, or form. And I want you to recognize that and really think about what are some of the things that I'm already doing as a leader, rather than thinking, a leadership looks like this and I'm not quite a leader yet. Let's look at what are you actually doing right now. So rather than focusing on what it is you need to be doing more, let's focus on who it is that you need to be. Less about what it is you need to be doing more and more about who it is that you need to be. Because what you recognize is when you focus on what you need to do, it's easy to think, okay, I need to be able to do X, Y, and Z, or I need to understand this concept a bit more. I need to be able to talk about this a bit more confidently. I need to be able to do this thing more in order for me to be an effective leader. But the problem with that is most leaders, in fact, every leader, and every effective leader is going to be in a situation where they don't know what they're doing. They're going to be in a situation where they don't know what they're doing and they have to figure it out. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're running an organization, if you are operating a business, especially at this time, there are going to be things that come up that you're going to have to deal with that no one's ever had to deal with before that is sitting in your seat. So let's think about the pandemic. Let's think about everybody then working from home, then everybody switching to hybrid working. And let's think about ESG. Let's think about sustainability. Let's think about equality. Like, these are all topics that are relevant for us in this day and age in the workplace. And these are all things that many leaders didn't have to deal with in the way that we have to deal with them now. So if you're a leader, it isn't the case that you could have studied or you could have watched someone else or you could have really learned what you would need to do in this scenario. No, instead, you're having to lean on your skill set, your strategic thinking, you're having to lean on your resilience, on your stress management and all of those things so that you can make decisions about what needs to happen next. So what does that mean for you? Well, rather than focusing on, okay, I need to cross all the T's and be able to do all these things, it's like, no, let me actually hone the skill set that is required for me to be able to operate as a leader who's going to have to face uncertain times, who's going to have to face differences, who's going to have to face challenges that haven't come up before. The analogy that I like to use with this is parenting. When I became a parent, I was not prepared. I was definitely the person who bought all the books, who read all the books, who studied, who was like, okay, right, this is the schedule. My son's going to go to bed at this time. He's going to do this. He's going to do this. He's going to do this. I'm going to follow the plan. At one point, I had to just say, do you know what? I'm throwing these books out the window because my son obviously hasn't read these books because he's on his own agenda. And every time I felt as though I figured it out, every time I got to the place where I was like, okay, yeah, this is making sense. Like we're getting in a groove. We're kind of doing well here. He would change. He would change. Why? Because he's grown. Right? And he's at a new season. And so when it comes to parenting, it's not about you trying to learn everything that you can potentially can about every stage of the child's life. It's about you recognizing that, okay, as a parent, what are the principles that I'm going to live by? What are the skill sets that I need? And then how do I develop those? So things like stress management, things like emotional regulation, like let me focus on how do I manage myself as a parent so that when things come up, and they absolutely do come up, left field, I'm able to deal with them. Rather than me saying, okay, I need to know, what do I need to learn to be able to guide a 13-year-old, like, or a, whatever age, right, you're thinking about when it comes to parenting. Like, I could try and swat up and like learn all the things that other people have been through. But the reality is nobody has raised my son or my daughter at that age before. Nobody. I haven't done it. No one else has done it. And so I then have to lean into the fact that there's certain information that I know about them. There's certain experiences we've had in the past. And based on those things, I'm now going to make a decision about how we deal with a particular challenge. And it's the same for leadership. It's like you can't learn all the things that could potentially come up because you just don't know. There's going to be no one else who's necessarily led that team or that company or that division in this season of the Earth's history, right? It's like you're doing it at this time. And as you do it at this time, different things are going to come up and you're going to have to adapt and you're going to have to meet the challenges as they come up and you're going to have to make decisions, right? So the reason why I'm saying you're more equipped for leadership than you think is that you'll never be in a position where you're 100% ready to face all the challenges that are going to come. But what you do have is a track record of being able to figure things out. And what you do have is a skill set that you've been able to develop throughout the course of your career so far. And so rather than focus on what's lacking, you can focus on, well, how do I build up and develop the skill set that I know that I'm going to need to implement and leverage and use as a leader going forward. So if you're leading in some capacity already, which you absolutely are, then lean into that. Like, what is your leadership style? How do you show up? Who are you as a person? What are your strengths? And then how can you really be raising your level of self-awareness around those things so that you then know how to use what you have in your toolkit for what it is you're going to face as you move into a leadership position. So it's really about raising your level of self-awareness around where you are right now and who you are as an individual, and then how that can then translate to you being an effective leader, rather than thinking that I need to be able to tick all of these boxes and know all of this information before I'm able to lead. There is absolutely space. There's absolutely a requirement for you to have a knowledge base around your area of expertise. If you're working in finance, in order for you to lead in finance, you have to understand finance. But if you're at the stage now where you're trying to think about leadership, odds are you've been working in whatever particular space that you're in for some time. And so you have the tactical stuff, you have the knowledge piece, like you understand what is going on. But the next thing is outside of that, outside of the doing of the work, outside of the executing on the technical, what are you doing in terms of developing the skills that are required to be a leader, rather than thinking, I just need to know more on the technical side. And the skills that are required for you to be an effective leader, you're probably using them right now. But now it's about saying, if I want to operate at another level of leadership, how do those skills now need to be cultivated, and how do I need to be using those skills going forward? So that is what I wanted to share with you. You're more equipped than you think. And the way that we're thinking about leadership needs to shift. It's not a destination. Like, when I get to this point, I'm ready. It's forever going to be a journey. And so it's about you recognizing that and knowing that you're going to have to lean on your ability to adapt, to be resilient, to make decisions, to be strategic as a leader, more so than your technical ability that you already have and that you already possess. That is what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and week, and I'll see you very soon. Bye. Hey, if you enjoy what you hear on the podcast, then come and follow us over on Instagram at Career Changemakers. We share regular tips, strategies, live stream videos, resources that can support you on your career journey. So come and give us a follow, and I look forward to seeing you over there at Career Changemakers. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe to the show so that you don't miss any future episodes. Also, I would love to know what your biggest takeaway has been from today's episode. Come over and join us in our Career Changemakers community over on LinkedIn so that you can join the conversation there. I look forward to seeing you.